So in this video, I'm going to break down the specific reasons as to why I was so impressed with Hojlund's goals in this game, before I tactically break down how Ten Hag could use Hojlund's deeper movements to open up space in the backline and create high value chances, looking at a pattern of play involving an Italian side and one of the best left backs in world football, before coming on to how United could apply it to Hojlund, Rashford and another specific player in order to create these high value chances. So United went 2-0 up within the first 5 minutes of the game, and to be honest I think we were incredibly fortunate, because had we not taken the lead that early on, I think we would have struggled to break down Luton from open play, and this could have been the type of game where we dropped points. But going in front forced Luton to come out a bit, it allowed United to sit deeper and play on the counter, which definitely suits our game at the minute. But the first goal was practically a gift. I mean, the ball gets booted upfield by Casemiro, and you can see the front three are sitting on the edge of the defensive third, but as the ball bounces, whilst it is a horrendous mistake from Bale at the back for Luton, it's Garnacho and Hojlund's energy off the ball which really forces this error. Firstly, Garnacho applies the pressure. The mistake is horrendous. It's basically a pass straight into Hojlund's path, but as he's running through on goal, he has the composure that Garnacho and even Bruno Fernandes didn't have in the second half. And you'll see what he does as he approaches the goalkeeper. The keeper comes out very early, as he did in the second half for two of United's other chances, but Hojlund feints as though he's going to release the shot, before taking the touch to move the ball wide of the keeper, leaving the keeper flat-footed, which opens up the left side of the goal for him, and he just slots the ball into the back of the net. And whilst his first goal showed a lot of composure and technique, with him having quite a bit to think about as he raced through on goal against Kaminsky in the 1v1, his second goal was pure instinct, something we would have seen from some of the great United strikers over the years, Andy Cole, Ruud van Nistelrooy. And if you like that sort of nostalgia, head over to Jersey FIFA. You can check out all their Manchester United retro jerseys through the 90s and 2000s, as well as from other clubs and international sides as well. If you use code Atlantis at checkout, you'll get a discount. A link will be in my Instagram bio, which I will leave linked in the description. But for the second goal, just a few minutes after the first, initially it just looked like a deflection, but as I break this down, you'll see that Hojlund deserves a lot more credit than initially thought. So first of all, as the corner's taken, you can see Hojlund's taking up a position at the back post, and as the ball gets headed out to Garnacho, you can see that he anticipates where the goal may come from, moving into the 6-yard box, keeping himself onside, meaning that when Garnacho's shot does come in, he's in the right position at the right time. And whilst it did look like a deflection, when watching the replay you can see that he actually does fantastically to redirect the shot with a flick of the chest, which sends the ball bobbling into the far corner. And so whilst on the surface both goals may just seem like standard goals for a striker, I would argue that these goals in particular show exactly what Hojlund's all about. He has that natural poaching ability to be able to take these sorts of chances. The first goal is all about his composure, being able to round the keeper, showing how cool he is under pressure, being able to just touch the ball to the side before putting the ball into the empty net, whilst the second goal is even more poacher-like, with that instinctive finish, something that very few strikers have. And it's this sort of movement inside of the box, as well as the instinctive finishing ability, that really distinguishes the strikers who get between 10 and 15 Premier League goals, and the ones who get over 20. And so the 2-0 lead wasn't really from anything tactical or even from the team as a whole, it was really down to Rasmus Hojlund on his own. But as I said in the analysis video I did on Rasmus Hojlund after the West Ham game, I'll leave that linked in the description, Hojlund has raised his performance to another level, and what I've been particularly impressed with isn't even his goal scoring, because we knew that when he was signed, he was always a player who you saw as someone in the box who had that natural poacher instinct, and just from his performances in the Champions League, I think it was never really in doubt that he would eventually start scoring. But there was always a question about his ability outside of the box, but he's now reminded me of some of the best forwards of the past generation. Think of Falcao, Didier Drogba, even before that the likes of Shevchenko, Adriano, and players from that generation as well. And I mentioned this in a Patreon video I did a few months back that will also be linked in the description, where I described Hojlund amongst other centre forwards as what I defined as a battering ram striker. And once again, as he did in the games against Wolves, West Ham and Aston Villa, he showcased his back to goal game, his ability to link play, as he's now able to drop off, receive the ball with his back to goal, hold of the defender before spinning them, and then finding a pass into either Garnacho or Rashford, who can then drive the attack forward. And we also saw Hojlund's deeper movement with his back to goal indirectly create a chance for Bruno Fernandes. So here we see initially that Bruno Fernandes plays a pass into Hojlund in the middle third, and as Hojlund receives the ball with Osho close to him on his back under pressure, you can see the effect of his movement, as Osho has been dragged out of that Luton back line, leaving a massive space in the centre, which Bruno Fernandes recognises from that deep position, makes a run ahead of Hojlund. Hojlund's got the strength and the technical ability to not just hold off Osho, but also turn him and find the pass into into Garnacho, and now you can see Bruno Fernandes racing into that space that Hojlund's vacated by dragging Osho out of the Luton back line. Garnacho plays a fantastically timed and weighted first time pass, releasing Bruno Fernandes into the 1v1, and whilst Bruno Fernandes should definitely score from this situation, you have to give credit to Sambi Lokonga, because to be honest, Bruno Fernandes does 90% right, goes round the keeper, and he doesn't even take an extra touch as Garnacho did in his situation. He actually releases the shot at the right time, but Lokonga gets back and makes a block. Bruno Fernandes will probably feel he should have elevated the ball to get it over Lokonga sliding on the ground. But nevertheless, this whole chance was created from Hojlund's deeper movement. He's not just now playing as an advanced forward or a poacher who sits on the shoulder of the last defender and looks to make runs into goal scoring positions. He's developing his game further, and he can now drop off and help link the play, and this is exactly what's going to take United's attack to the next level, as it indirectly creates that space for Bruno Fernandes to run into and creates that high value 1v1 goal scoring opportunity. And this sort of run from Bruno Fernandes ahead of Hojlund from a deeper central position into the gap in the opposition's backline created by Hojlund's deeper movement is an attacking pattern of play that I think Ten Hag needs to use more of at United. And whilst I think Bruno Fernandes could definitely be the player to make these runs, ideally you'd have someone with a lot more pace and power driving into the space. And this is exactly how we saw Theo Hernandez exploit the space created by Giroud's deeper movement a few weeks ago against Napoli. So here we see as the ball goes out to Theo Hernandez on AC Milan's left side, he's about to thread a pass into Giroud, who's dropping deep into the left-sided half space. And as the ball goes into Giroud, you can see that his deeper movement has dragged the Napoli centre-back out of the back line, creating a massive gap between Ostergaard and Juan Jesus, as Romani's been pulled out into a deeper position. Unlike Hojlund, Giroud is excellent at dropping into these deeper positions and linking the play. Here he does it first time, playing the pass into Rafael Leao on the left side, but this is where we see the effect of having a player with the true pace and power of Theo Hernandez. As we can see, even though he starts incredibly deep on the halfway line, even as Giroud is playing the first time pass into Rafael Leao, by the time Leao receives the ball he's already up on the back of Lobotka, and the Napoli man just hasn't got the legs to stay with the Frenchman, and so with Romani initially being dragged out of the back line with Giroud's movement just as Osho was in the game against Luton, it becomes a straight race between the fairly slow Lobotka and the absolutely rapid Theo Hernandez. And Leao does what we've seen Rashford do a number of times for United. He receives a ball and stops it dead in a static position, waiting for the passing lane to open up and waiting for Theo Hernandez to make that run. As the gap opens up, he threads a perfectly weighted through ball, finding the run of Theo Hernandez, who finishes in the 1v1 situation. But before I go any further, if you do want to see some exclusive content and unreleased videos, you can head over to my Patreon and get a 7-day free trial. I have got a video on who would be my top managerial candidates if Ineos did decide to replace Ten Hag at the end of the season. I've also got a podcast episode where I break down the impact of Omar Barada and Dave Brailsford on Manchester United, particularly looking at Dave Brailsford's marginal gains theory, which he did use in cycling to so much success. There's also some unreleased tactical videos as well, so if you do want to check out the Patreon, you can get a 7-day free trial. I'll leave it linked in the description. Now United at the moment obviously don't have anyone as explosive as Theo Hernandez, who can make those powerful runs from deep central positions into the space opened up by Hojlund. Even though from the left side I do think Alvaro Fernandez would have been perfect for this role. Unfortunately, for some unknown reason, he's out on loan at Benfica, meaning that whilst Luke Shaw is absent for injury, it's going to be Lindelof who is his replacement, and he's definitely not got the explosiveness to provide these runs from deep. However, I do think that Ten Hag could potentially use Dalot on the left side, or even from the right side as well, and have him be the player to make those driving runs from deep in behind the back line. And so we could see a similar pattern of play to how AC Milan did it, with Hojlund dropping off into the left-sided half space, someone from deep, maybe Dalot himself, playing that pass into Hojlund's feet, before making that forward run into the space that Hojlund has created by dragging the centre-back out of the back line. And when Hojlund plays a pass into Rashford out on the left, Dalot can make that third man run into the space, and Rashford's definitely got the ability to find him with this static pass as Leao did for Theo Hernandez. And this could work to release Dalot into a dangerous position, either in a crossing or 1v1 shooting position, in behind the opposition's back line. And whilst you'd certainly say that Dalot isn't the ideal player to be making this sort of run, he's definitely the best that United have at the moment, and we have seen him do it before. And whilst it wasn't a pattern of play that was identical to the one we saw from AC Milan against Napoli, there were a lot of similarities. It started off with Antony receiving the ball on the right side, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka's overlapping run dragged the left back Renan Lodi away from Antony, allowing him to come inside, and whilst initially Wout Weghorst's bending run could have been used as an opportunity for Antony to slip him into a 1v1 situation, the Dutchman's movement actually served to be a facilitating movement. And we see this as on the far side, Marcus Rashford's high and wide position, just as Leao's wide position did for Theo Hernandez's run, serves to force the Nottingham Forest right back Nico Williams to hold a wider position, and Weghorst's run over to the far side acts to drag the Nottingham Forest right-sided centre-back over to his left side, opening up that space between the right back and left back. And as Antony comes infield into a central position, you can see Dalot, who was playing from left back in this game, just as Theo did, is making a bursting run from deep, running off the Nottingham Forest midfield line into that space between the right back and centre back, and Antony for once gets the timing and the weight of his pass perfect, releasing Dalot into this space, getting him into a 1v1 situation, and he finishes the chance. And so whilst the personnel certainly isn't ideal for this sort of attacking pattern of play, with Hojlund's deeper movement dragging the centre-back out of the back line as Weghorst did against Nottingham Forest and Giroud did against Napoli, and Rashford's ability to find the pass just as Leao did from the left side, I definitely would like to see Ten Hag utilise Dalot in this sort of role, breaking into positions in behind the opposition's back line. So thank you for watching. If you do want to see me do more tactical breakdowns like this, suggesting patterns of play that United could use, both in offensive and defensive situations, let me know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you do get notified when those videos come out.